Hi guys, Jennifer here, and I have a few card shares to show you. I have been working on my card making skills, and I decided to use some of the Ooh La La Vintage Treasures leftovers that I've had accumulating from several different kits. And I had someone ask me, what do you do with your leftover trims and little bits and pieces? And I wanted to make a project that showed you how you can use things that you probably wouldn't use on a project as a focal point because it might just be a little scrap. So this is one of the cards I made, and I used this beautiful House of Roses paper. This is the 6x6, and I wanted to make something a little bit shabby vintage, so I used that paper line. I literally tucked in everything that you could imagine to this card. So I will start here with this pretty pink bow, and this was some packaging that Doreen had used in one of her kits. She always wraps beautiful either fabrics or usually it's a torn fabric or a pretty piece of lace to wrap her, her kits in. So anyway, I had some of that, and so I made this it's a loopy bow, but it's not perfect, and that's okay because I'm not that great at, I did it by hand, so if I would have used my bow at all, maybe it would be a little bit better, but I actually kind of like it like that. I started off with just a white paper, and then underneath that I used the corrugated cardboard. So under here is corrugated cardboard, and I painted the edges pink to match the paper. After I did that, I did 2 layers of paper, I think. Yeah, I did 2 layers of paper, and very much like Violet does, she just kind of glues it in the middle and scrunches it, distresses the edges really well, and that allows you to leave the sides open to tuck all kinds of different things. These 2 layered laces are the ruffle laces that Doreen had in one of her kits, and if you don't have it, I don't have it all the way going around. I kind of have it partially there and then wrapped around here, and then the pink one is just on the bottom. This little trim here, this white ruffly trim, was actually just a leftover bit from the Tiffany kit. I tucked in lots of different die cuts in all different shapes, and I cut them apart and I stuck them in to kind of give them some, I love to have stuff sticking out everywhere. And so sometimes I'll just sit and I'll just die cut my die cuts, and then in just neutral colors so that I can tuck them into my cards like this. So I have this piece, I have some leaves here, I have this pretty little dress form. And all I did was take some texture paste and dab it on there, and then I used some glitter and sprinkled that on there. And this little piece right here is from an applique, and it's literally a scrap, but it looks so cute because it's just tucked right in there like a little leaf. And then I added some flowers. I tucked in this little bit from one of her kits. This is the little kind of like stems of beads, little plastic buttons that I had, this one, and I tucked in a little ephemera piece there, and then put a bubble things there. I don't know what they call them. They're not glass, they're acrylic. Little piece of trim here, this little piece of leftover I had from some project, some doily that she had in her kits, some cutout leaves, and then this little sentiment that says hello, little cabochon there. And then I used some texture paste and glitter and all kinds of things on there to kind of give it dimension and sparkle And you can kind of see all of that on there. And then on the inside, I layered the beautiful paper in there. All I did was distress the edges. It gives a nice little finished look on the back as well. And it's ready to go to give to someone special. Now the next card that I created was a little bit out of my comfort zone. I wanted to do something that is not, you know, my usual colors. So this is the paper that I use. It is the Everyday Spring Lemon Craft papers. And I was like really hesitant to get the papers, but then I said, you know what, I'm gonna get them and I'm gonna stretch myself because, you know, you gotta change things up, you know, and that's what I decided to do. Because this green is, you know, super bright, but when you start adding all of the layers, it doesn't, you know, it doesn't scream like, ah, that's crazy bright. I did the same here. I did 2 layers of the papers, but then I added one of the cut aparts, and it did have a sentiment, and I was gonna leave the sentiment, then I changed my mind, and I put this little dream wooden piece there. So I basically went about this the same way. These are literally cut apart pieces of doily, and I stuck them in and around. And this is leftover lace trim. Again, I didn't have enough to go all the way around, but it still gives a really pretty edging to it. I don't like everything symmetrical on these cards. So on this side, I actually tucked in a little corner die cut. I also used this doily here and tucked that underneath. Lots of flowers. I even tucked in some, what is this, fun fur, and these, I loved the colors of these flowers, and I've never used that color, and I thought it was perfect with the green. And then I had a little tidbit of doily, and I tucked that in there. This was just a little bit of lace, and I just kind of curled it and tucked it in there. Little bits of trims and material that have lace, you know, lace, and all these things that are in here were left over from the kit. Here's a bunch of tulle, and I kind of just scrunched it and laid it so that it would peek out on both sides here. I tucked in a heart die cut that I, you know, did glittered up in there. This is a little piece of bead flower that I created so long ago, and I was trying to dig into my stash and use, you know, some leftover things, as well as this real pretty material that was also attached to one of the packages from Ooh La La Vintage Treasures. Here's a doily that I put underneath, and I kind of scrunched it in the corner there. And I splattered some white gesso all over, and I really like that. With, oh, I don't have the tulle down here, but it's really cool tulle that the IOD sisters used on their project, so I had to get that, of course. And so that is the pretty card, and then here's the paper on the inside. You can see how bright it is. It's so pretty though. It's got little water droplets and flowers and print on there, and then here's the green. And so I kind of wanted to show the papers there, since, you know, you can't really see them so well there. But I just think these cards turned out so pretty, and I had so much fun making them because it's kind of like an art collage, and you can do absolutely whatever you want. You just keep tucking things in everywhere until you like it. So those are the 2 Shabby Chic cards. I hope that you like them, and now you know you can use your little scraps and little leftovers from Ooh La La Vintage Treasures kits and tuck them in and make beautiful art pieces. All right, guys, I will talk to you real soon. Bye-bye for now.